Good morning, friends. The subject of my talk this morning is what is Hinduism? Well, while writing books or giving talks, I follow Swami Vivekananda, who made Hinduism known to the Western world in 1890s. He came to attend the Parliament of Religions held in Chicago in 1893, and then he was proved to be perhaps the best orator. One newspaper in America wrote about him. He is an orator by divine right. That was Vivekananda. He preached Hinduism in the West most effectively. Once, on invitation, he gave a talk in the Harvard University. And after his talk, two students were talking to each other. One asked the other, "Did you like that talk?" The other student said, "Yes, but I could understand everything." So in those days, talks, lectures would be given by the university professors in a language which I call the academic language, using all long drawn sentences. In those days, that was the style. And dropping names of other authors, etc. So this was the style in those days. But Swami Vivekananda changed the style. He used to say, "I'll make the most abstruse spiritual truths available to people by using a language which will be understandable to the children also." I try to follow him. There was another British author called Bertrand Russell. He was also in favor of this style. So, what is Hinduism? I'll try to present this or answer this question through my talk by using Swami Vivekananda as a role model. I'll try to make it simple to understand. What is Hinduism? I will talk about that later, how that name came. But this religion, which is known as Hinduism, is based on some super sensuous truths. First one is, what is the source of this universe? Is there any source? If at all, what is that source? Out of nothing something cannot come. Therefore there must have been a source. So that question has been answered in Hinduism. What is the source? And also, if the source is the creator, then what is the relationship between the creator and those who are created, such as us? Then another super sensuous truth. What happens after our death? Nobody is immortal. Every person dies. But what happens after our death? That is one question, which has been answered by Hinduism. And along with that comes the other question. do we exist after our death? Otherwise, do we become nothing? Or we exist? Our post-mortem existence, is it real or not? That answer is given by Hinduism. And then another super sensuous truth. Did we exist before our birth? So all these questions have been answered in Hinduism. So did we exist before our birth? So then this birth is a reincarnation. So Hinduism believes in reincarnation. A person dies and then again is reborn. The idea of reincarnation is there. What happens after our death? After the death, the body becomes disintegrated one way or the other. Sometimes the body is burnt, sometimes it is put in the grave, and in course of time the body disintegrates. In any case. So this physical body is not there. And how do we exist then? Hinduism gives the answer. We exist in a subtle body. This physical body made of muscles, bones, etc. won't be there. But we have a finer body. Where do we go after our death? Do you go up above or down below somewhere? Hinduism says no. There are many planes of existence. In each plane, there are certain frequencies are there. According to the frequency of the mind, a person goes to one such plane of existence or the other. All these planes of existence are called lokas in Sanskrit. And they exist occupying the same space. And depending upon the quality of the mind of the individual, after that individual's death, when the physical body is cast off, and the subtle body goes to a certain plane of existence or loka. How many lokas are there? Innumerable, ananta loka in Sanskrit they say. So reincarnation, that is, Hinduism considers that to be the truth. And our existence, of course, after our death, that is also a truth. And as the world is there, it must have a creator. We may call that creator by any name you want, God or whatever. But there must have been a source. And that source is the creator. Was that source a person? That question has been asked in Hinduism. Yes, that is a being. Source is not like a human person. And that is beyond, when there is no time, no space, and no causation, then that source existed. So that's why that source was being beyond time, that source was eternity. Being beyond space, it was infinity. and it was also the original source of consciousness that we have. All these answers have been given in Hinduism. That word Hinduism, did our ancestors know this word? This religion is the oldest living faith in the world. Other religions were there, but they were gone. Like the religion of the Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, that was gone. But this religion called Hinduism has existed for many, many thousand years. Who is the founder of this religion? The answer is there is no known founder. Many people with the equipment that people use to know things, that is the mind, many people with their minds which are highly developed could know certain truths. Some of them are super sensuous truths. And it is they who taught others around them. Truth about the Creator and how the world was created and all these things. And people heard those things. None of them sat down and wrote a book recording what he or she had come to know. But others, those who heard, later on they wrote those truths that they had learned from these special people. And that's how some religious books appeared. And in Hinduism, such books are called Veda. It has come from the original word vid, it means to know. That means knowledge. And so, in course of time, many such knowledge accumulated and was available for others to know about that knowledge. And so eventually a time came when such knowledge was recorded in the form of books, and the most ancient book consisting or containing such knowledge is called Rigveda. Then other Rigveda, Samveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda. Those 4 books are mentioned in Hinduism. They are available. So there are 4 Vedas. And these Vedas contain all the truths, from the lowest truth to the highest truth. No truth has been thrown away. And this religion, which we call Hinduism, was not known to our ancient ancestors as Hinduism. They would call that religion the religion of humankind, Manava Dharma in Sanskrit, or the perennial religion, in Sanskrit, Sanatana Dharma. And also those ancestors, they all wanted to be noble people. And the word noble in ancient Sanskrit language is arya. Arya means a noble person. Everybody wanted to be noble. At least they were encouraged to be noble. And so the religion also was known as Arya Dharma. Dharma is the counterpart of the English word religion. But the speciality of this religion is that that in it the word blasphemy is not there. So people can ask all kinds of questions about this religion. And these questions have been answered also. They are also available. So how come the religion which was Sanatana Dharma became Hinduism? Well, ancient Aryans or Aryas lived in the southern part of Asia, particularly in that triangular part which is called India. And India was an extremely habitable place. The climate was tropical mostly, very comfortable. And there were some big rivers passing through that land. For example, the river Ganga, the river Brahmaputra, and the river Sindhu. Sindhu river flowed in the western side of India. And why was that river given that name Sindhu? In English it is called Indus River. So, because the word Sindhu actually does not mean a river, it means the ocean. So the mouth of that river was very wide, so a person sitting on one bank of that river could not see the other bank, and it would look like the river had become the ocean. I think that's why the river was named Sindhu. And some people who lived close to that river were called Hindu, people living on the bank of the Sindhu, river Sindhu. They are called Hindus, particularly by those who could not pronounce the word saw that well. They pronounce it as ha, say Hindu. That's how the word Hindu came. They were all Aryans. Some Aryans who lived far away, they would call these Aryans living on the bank of the river Indus Hindus. That's how the word Hindu came. Then, for nearly 200 years, many years later, the 18th or 19th century, the British ruled India for 200 years. The nations of Europe, they suffered from terrible cold and all these things. So they didn't have enough food also in some places. And they mostly ate meat of animals. And they would go out of their countries eventually when they developed the ability to go across the sea with boats. They would leave their country and go to the other regions which are more fertile and all that. And many of them occupied those areas. They started colonies. So the British also came to India and made India its colony. For 200 years India was ruled by the British. At that time the British would use the word Hinduism to mean the religion of the Hindus or the Indo-Aryans. Something like socialism, this word Hinduism was created. That's why our ancient ancestors would never know this word Hinduism. Or I am saying because I was born in that race or whatever you call it. See, Hinduism has no known founder, and I have explained to you already. Because many highly intelligent people with their highly evolved minds were able to know certain truths, which we may call supersensuous truths. And they talked about those truths. That's how the books called the Vedas were created. And in this religion, I have told you that all kinds of questions can be asked. And all relevant questions are there in the storehouse of these religious scriptures, and the answers are also there. So the question has been asked, because this religion would be called Sanatana Dharma, the perennial religion. Dharma means religion. What is Dharma? What is religion? The answer has been given. Dharayati dharma ityahu. Something which sustains us, that is religion. What sustains us? An ordinary person will say, food and drink that we take, and also the oxygen that we inhale. These are the things which sustain us. But the word dharma means something much deeper. According to this religion, what sustains us is divinity. What is divinity? The transcendental divinity that sustains us. There is a hymn in Rigveda called Nasadiya hymn. It discusses how the world was created, how from its source it came and it evolved into what we see as the world now. And at the end of that hymn, a question has been raised, a philosophical question. Has this world been really created? Does the Creator know it or not? The word created may not know that this world has been created. Why? Because the Creator has created this world with his power of magic called Maya. And so those who are under the spell of that power of magic, they see this world, such as we all living beings here. But the Creator does not know. I have used this analogy many times, had I been a great mass hypnotist, then had I hypnotized the people around me and told them, look at this tiger sitting in front of me. Then those who are hypnotized, they will all see that tiger sitting in front of me. But I am the hypnotist. Will I see that tiger? No, because I have hypnotized others, but I am not under hypnosis. So for me there is no tiger. So also this power with the help of which God has created this world, according to Hinduism, this world is not really there so far as the Creator is concerned. To him the world does not exist. But the Creator exists. From our point of view, we are like so many motion pictures which have been projected on the movie screen. The movie screen is white. It is changeless, so to say. And on that, the motion pictures are projected. The existence of those people and things which we see in a motion picture, their existence is possible because of the existence of the movie screen. Had there been no movie screen, they would not exist. So that's why we are like those pictures in the movie screen. We are not real, they say. The question has been raised in Hinduism. What is real? The answer has been given. Something which is eternal and changeless, that is real. We keep on changing physically, mentally, and we are not physically or mentally eternal. Therefore, we are not real. What is real then? What is real is divinity. Divinity is like that white movie screen. Its existence is real. So, in the Vedas, this word is used to indicate that reality. Sat Chit and Anandam. Sat means that is existence. Chit means consciousness. And Anandam means bliss. Bliss is not joy. Because when we use the word joy, then along with that we also in the background we think of the words unhappiness or sadness. This world, that's why in Hinduism it's called the world of pairs of opposites. If you know light, you must know darkness also. Those who are born blind, they don't know darkness, nor do they know light. They don't miss any of these two. So everything has this opposite. So, is this world real? No, it is not real because it is not eternal. What is real is divinity. Divinity is transcendental, as I have told you. Divinity is infinity, eternity. It's changeless. And it is like the white movie screen. And we are like so many motion pictures being projected on that movie screen. So what is Dharma? Dharma is something which sustains us is Dharma. So that movie screen sustains us. Had it not existed, we would not be anywhere there. So Dharma means that divinity. Sanatana Dharma means that eternal reality, so to say. And that's what we really are. We are sustained by the divinity which is behind us. That alone exists. That's why we seem to exist. And many religions of the world have their origin in this so-called Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, what it is, it should be called. For example, you have heard of Zoroastrianism. And those who belong to that religion, they think that their founder was Zarathustra, a sage. Zarathustra, Zarat means white, Ustra is camel. That was the name that he had, that saint. And the followers of that, his teachings, they are called Zarathustris, Zoroastrians. But this Zarathustra, what he taught from Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda. And so I have told you the names Rig, Sama, Yajur Veda and Atharva Veda. These are 4 Vedas. So Atharva Veda is the youngest. And so this religion of Zoroastrianism has come from this Atharva Veda. And what about Buddhism? Buddha was a Hindu or an Aryan. His followers have created that word, Buddhism. And Jainism, yes, there are some sages, Mahavira and all that. And according to them, this so-called religious sect is there called Jainism. They all came from the same Sanatana Dharma. Such things always happen. For example, Jesus Christ, his followers are called Christians. What about Jesus Christ? Was he a Christian? He is Christ, so he cannot be a Christian. Huh? What was he? He was a Jew. His teacher was John the Baptist. He baptized Jesus. And Jesus was a Jew, but his followers think that they're different from the Jews. So that's how we see these different religions are created by the people who follow one thing or the other. Say among the Indo-Aryans who lived in India also, they had many different ideas about the source of this universe or God. So they had come to know, some of them have come to know that God was infinity, eternity and consciousness. But when they try to think of that infinity, their finite mind should not allow them to think of that. The finite mind should project some limitations on that infinity. And that's how we see the personality of God. That is a projection of the finite mind of an individual. Every mind is like a pair of colored glasses. No two minds are alike. So I live in Seattle here. Much of the year the sky is overcast with clouds. So the sky is greyish. But if people look at that same greyish sky, wearing different colored eyeglasses, then the clouds will appear to be green, red, yellow, orange, depending on the color of the colored eyeglasses. So this same sky will look different. So also the same divinity appear to become different deities, they are called. Because people were judging them, they were projecting all those mental limitations on God. That's why God became a person. And sometimes you would think, God who destroys this world, that is one. And God who creates this world, that is another idea. And God who controls the thunderclap, God who controls the ocean. So all these ideas came. That's why there are many deities. Varuna Deva, who is the controller of the waters of the ocean. That is in Sanskrit. They used to, excuse me, they used to think that way. That there are many, many such deities. And then in the Rigveda, one statement came. One sage is saying, Rigvedic sage. We don't know his name because they didn't want their names to be there. Said, Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. That is, there is only one divine truth. But the sages, different sages call the same divine truth by different names. So here we find the source of harmony of religions. Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. Yes, you think God is so many different deities. No, God is one and the same. That's what the Rigveda is teaching us. And then I have told you that another speciality of Hinduism is all kinds of questions can be asked. The word blasphemy is not there. So different people ask different questions and their answers are also there. And when they start questioning and questioning, then they develop philosophies. So love of questioning, I would say, that is philosophy. And so as a result of that, this religion also, which is called Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, has developed quite a few religious philosophies. There are 6 systems of religious philosophy. They are like Sankhya, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, Yoga, Nyaya and Vaisheshika. And they all have different names of different philosophers as the founders. Sankhya is considered to be the oldest school of Hindu philosophy. And the founder is Kapila, the sage Kapila. And then comes Purva Mimamsa school. The founder is Jaimini. Then comes Uttara Mimamsa school of philosophy. The founder of that is Vyasa. And then comes Yoga philosophy, the founder of which is sage Patanjali. Then comes Nyaya philosophy. The founder of this school is Gautama. And there comes Vaisheshika philosophy. The founder of that school is Kanada. So all these philosophers are there. 6 systems of philosophy. And according to Sankhya school, for example, there is a divine male called Purusha and the mother world called Prakriti. So Purusha has consciousness, divine consciousness, but Prakriti is unconscious matter. But Prakriti borrows consciousness from Purusha and starts evolving. Prakriti evolves as this universe in which we live. So like that it goes on. This is Sankhya philosophy. Similarly, the other schools of philosophy, they also have different ways of understanding the world as it is and what is the source of the world, what happens to everyone after one dies and all these things. These questions have been answered. Many talks can be given on what is Hinduism on this topic. I have discussed a few points only. Maybe in the future I will discuss other things. And I've been here in this country for about 45 years. Having come here, I have been compelled to give talks, often on Hinduism. And so I used to be invited by the teachers of different schools and colleges to give talks on Hinduism. Then I decided to write a book on Hinduism. I named it Essentials of Hinduism. I made sure that it would be written in a clear language and it would have not be very bulky. Because according to some very experienced author, a book must not contain more than 250 pages. So I followed that instruction. And that book was published by our Vedanta Center in Seattle. And I named it Essentials of Hinduism. And it was published here. I'll show you the book. This is the book, Essentials of Hinduism. Nearly 30,000 copies of this book have been sold all over the world. The book that I showed you, it is the 6th reprint of that book. Here in the libraries also the book is available. Many universities buy these books to teach their students. And as I was saying, when I wrote that book, Essentials of Hinduism, since then I have not been invited by the schools and colleges or universities to give talks on Hinduism. Because the teachers can read this book and teach the students. Well, I think it is a good time to stop because I have spoken nearly for 45 minutes. Thank you all for your patience. In the future, I may have to talk more on this subject.